on tonight's indie scene.
I hope to be able to show people in Hollywood that I'm capable of directing.
Inspired by The Force, we'll visit with the director of the short film George Lucas in Love. Risking it all with the director who attracted a rising Hollywood star for his indie project.
We're making a movie in about a third of the time for about a fifth of the money.
Getting digital, we join the revolution to see what innovative artists can do with the right tools.
You can basically own your own movie studio for the cost of an iMac and a Sony camera.
And going Hollywood, we'll visit with some of Tinseltown's brightest stars and learn about their attraction to the indie scene.
Money, fame, power, glamour. These are words we commonly associate with the Hollywood entertainment industry. Fear, pain, desperation, and maxing out credit cards are the words we think of when it comes to the lives of independent filmmakers. But some of the independent films you may know include The Full Monty, Boys Don't Cry, and the short film True that inspired the Budweiser commercials.
Yo, what's up?
What's up?
What's up?
Ooh, I got a good idea.
What?
Let's never do that again.
Oh, you have a deal.
Oh, Meredith, Scott, Lynn.
And this is Roger Rose. Now, for every one of those films the majority of the public has seen, there are hundreds of wonderfully told stories produced outside the mainstream every year, never experienced by the entertainment-hungry masses.
But today, with the explosion of exhibition avenues like cable and the internet and new technologies that put cost-effective filmmaker tools within reach of almost anyone.
The opportunities for independent filmmakers to make their projects and have them seen are better than ever. Like, for instance, last year's huge summer hit, The Blair Witch Project.
The revolution has just begun, and we'll be right here every week to celebrate our independence.
Woo! And help guide you on your own journey into the indie scene.
Is it like a Twilight Zone reference?
It was. I don't know what happened. I felt inspired.
Nice transition.
Thank you. Kind of like Joe Nussbaum was inspired. He saw two major studio hits and created the short film George Lucas in Love. Our correspondent, Laurie Shires, tracks the evolution of this film from concept to phenomenon.
There are thousands of short films currently being shown on the internet, but few have received the kind of notoriety and attention that George Lucas in Love has. And like most struggling filmmakers, Joe Nussbaum turned to a few of his good friends for help.
This unlikely success story began in the spring of 1999 when Nussbaum and some of his friends decided that making a parody would jumpstart their careers.
I hope to be able to show people in Hollywood that I'm capable of directing and maybe ultimately getting a feature in the next year or 2 years.
Action!
The University of Southern California allowed Nussbaum to shoot the film over the course of 1 weekend, 3 weeks before the highly anticipated premiere of the Star Wars prequel.
Did you time the completion of the movie and the release with
in
episode
fact,
1?
We were racing. We managed to get it done the weekend that Star Wars came out, episode 1 came out, so it was on people's desks that Monday.
You're George Lucas, right?
Yeah.
We definitely had a marketing plan for the film.
The Lucas in Love team built the buzz by sending over 100 VHS copies of the short to a select hit list of industry insiders at agencies, studios, and media outlets.
In Hollywood, the talk is about another movie, this one only 8 minutes long.
Mix a little George Lucas with a little Shakespeare and love, stirring Star Wars, and you've got what's become all the rage in Hollywood.
It's sort of the greatest thing to hear about is that someone just saw your film and it looked like crap. And that was like the greatest compliment we could get, because that meant that they were watching a copy of a copy.
Even George Lucas himself is a fan of the film.
Yes, I thought it was quite rude as well.
They utilized their talent at just the right time.
Producer rep Patrick Lynn saw the potential in the film immediately and got a meeting with the creators by calling every Joe Nussbaum in the Los Angeles phone book.
Imagine some of the really successful short films that have sort of been passed around Hollywood, like Spirit of Christmas, which became South Park and things like that. Imagine if you could buy that in a store. And that was my basic pitch to these guys.
Lynn set up a meeting with a fledgling website.
They pitched the guys on launching the site with George Lucas in Love, and they were going to call the site MediaTrip.com. And the guys really liked the pitch.
Within a few weeks, about 250,000 people had seen the film online.
Since it premiered, over 2 million people have downloaded the film.
It was about 100 times the amount of people that we thought would ever see it, or maybe even more. You know, we thought executives will see this, people who can give us jobs will see this.
But that's the amazing thing about the net. You have this huge
Anyone can see
audience.
it.
Since the release of George Lucas in Love, Joe Nussbaum has been tapped by Ron Howard's Imagine Entertainment for his feature film directorial debut, How to Eat Fried Worms.
It's not bad, even if it is a studio film.
Pass. Next, we visit with a very popular TV star from Beverly Hills 90210, who has chosen to swim against the mainstream of Hollywood to pursue his passion not only as an actor, but as a director.
I just keep trying to do interesting movies with interesting people.
Jason Priestley was already a television icon playing Brandon Walsh when he decided to make the move to the big screen.
But the movies I was getting offered were like, you know, Brandon Walsh Goes to College or Brandon Walsh. And like, dude, I played that character. I want to do something else. In my hiatuses, I would try very hard to play characters as far removed from the one I played on television all the time.
You know, I could rape you, chop you up in little pieces, and throw you in the lake before you had a chance to think 911, let alone dial it.
I sat down with Jason to discuss not only acting, but his directing career, which actually began on 90210. Did you ask to direct, or was that part of your deal so that it would enrich your experience there?
No, I said, you have to let me start directing these things now. And they said, no, we don't. And I said, yeah, you do. And they did.
For Jason's theatrical directorial debut, he turned to his old friends, Canadian rock band Bare Naked Ladies.
Well, I talked about it with the band first, and I said, wouldn't it be funny if we did this?
Right.
And they said, yeah, that would be funny. We're going to go talk to Reprise. We want a Reprise. So they went and talked to Reprise, and they said, wouldn't it be funny if... And when Reprise said, wouldn't it be funny if we wrote you a check and said, go make it?
Can I ask the budget?
We're around $500,000 Canadian dollars, so
Which is, translate that.
Which is about $12 American.
Well, I actually enjoy Canada. It's like the United States, but nobody lives there.
Are you proud of it?
I'm very proud of it. I mean, there's some moments in it that people go, dude, that didn't really happen. Like, come on, you set that up. Right. And I really didn't. I was sitting there filming Ed in the toilet.
Nice.
I was sitting there filming Ed taking a shit.
You are about to get a glimpse into this band like no other rock movie has.
With the release of Bare Naked in America, look for more projects from an actor-director who's not afraid to take chances.
Independent film has allowed me to, you know, to really stretch and do other things that otherwise I wouldn't have had the opportunity to do.
I'd be rich.
When we return, we're going to meet Steven Spielberg's two-time Academy Award-winning sound mixer, Ron Judkins. Ron used some leftover film from Saving Private Ryan, attracted a major movie star, and made his own independent feature dream a reality. What is it that drives passionate independent filmmakers to find some way, any way, of telling their story in sound and picture?
You know, as an Academy Award-winning sound mixer who has worked on over 25 films, including 6 with Steven Spielberg, Ron Judkins has been around Hollywood's best filmmakers.
But Ron came out to Hollywood to be a director, so he took a break from his day job to make his own stunningly beautiful film.
Laurie Shires met with Ron to ask him, what does it take to get it made?
We looked for money, we couldn't find any money. We'd written this business plan, we needed like $400,000. So the first about 150 was my life savings.
When you're making a movie with your own money, you put every penny on the screen. That's just how Ron Judkins directed The High Line, starring Rachel Lee Cook.
It's not your problem. Who do you think you are? This is about me!
It's amazing. We're making a movie in about a third of the time it deserves for about a fifth of the money, but 100% is the quality. It's all there.
Why did you choose to do this?
Most people that get into the business, I mean, they don't get in it to be, you know, editors or makeup people or, you know, the crafts. I mean, you're attracted to the business to tell stories. I mean, I always was. And I wanted to make films. I thought, well, if I'm ever going to do this, follow my dream, now's the time. Push the go button myself and stop asking other people for permission to make a movie.
Ron may have avoided the studio system, but he still needed a star.
If you don't have a cast that's with some recognizable name or marketable name, it's a real problem. You might get your film made, but then you're not going to get your film sold.
You found someone fabulous with Rachel Lee Cook.
Rachel's agent didn't want her to do it. The agent thought that the film wasn't big enough for her or wasn't right for her at that time. But Rachel loved the material and decided to do it against the wishes of her agent.
I just hope that, you know, the right people can see it and the right people can believe in it and have the guts to stand behind it no matter what.
Now that The High Line is finished, Ron puts on his old hat as sound mixer of Steven Spielberg's new film, AI.
So what is it like going back into working on sound in movies after you've written and directed and produced your own?
I have a much better understanding of the process, like the big picture, and it makes it interesting. I mean, I see the work much differently now because I have a different perspective.
The Highline has enjoyed a limited theatrical run and is being released on home video and DVD this Christmas.
You invested $150,000, your life savings. Would you do that again?
Well, if I had the 150 grand, I would do it again in a second.
The Highline has won numerous awards, including the Audience Award at the Austin Film Festival, and it was an official selection at the 1999 Sundance Film Festival.
Rachel E. Cook has also been honored for her work on The Highline, winning the Best Actress Award at the Santa Monica Film Festival. The digital revolution gives almost anyone the tools they need to express their artistic vision through filmmaking.
And without putting up their life savings, digital video and desktop video editing systems are affordable and can help make your films look really professional.
The award-winning documentary Burning Man is part of a new wave of low-budget digital films that have become the buzz of the indie scene.
You can basically own your own movie studio for the cost of an iMac and a Sony camera.
Writer-director Alex Noe always dreamed of making his own movie. He filmed Burning Man with a low-cost digital camera he bought at a local electronics store.
I shot with no light, with no crew, with no external mic. It was all in camera, and the colors are just gorgeous. To be able to handle production by yourself is such a savings.
In spite of what Mike says now, it is my fault. Because it was my project.
In 1999, the Blair Witch Project took the box office by storm and fired the first shot of the digital revolution.
I knew I had to have a good script. And I knew I had to have a good team.
Like many other recent filmmakers, Donna Kuiper was inspired by the creators of the Blair Witch Project. She decided to write, produce, direct, and edit her first digital short, Iguana Love.
What are you doing after work?
The explosion of online content sites gave her the confidence to pursue her dream of being a filmmaker.
For a long period, there wasn't a venue to show shorts. They stopped showing them in movie theaters. But with the internet, it suddenly became a way to get it out to an audience.
The more access that digital creates, the better chance we have of seeing more talented filmmakers.
Dawn Hudson is the executive director of the Independent Film Project in Los Angeles. She believes that the digital revolution has given thousands of unknown filmmakers opportunities that didn't even exist last year.
You can sort of put the power in the hands of the people in the audience. Is very, very exciting.
And it looks like it'll even get better.
Everyone will have the ability to publish, themselves or to get their ideas out. It'll be great for freedom of expression.
When video camcorders first came out, it seemed like the only thing that they were used for was documenting our own everyday lives.
Yes, but the digital revolution has opened our imaginations up to a personal expression that in the past we could only dream of.
The indie scene wants to be a part of a would-be filmmaker's dream, and you can too.
Either by entering a short film of your own or by registering to be a member of the Indie Scene Academy and voting each week for your own favorite mini opus.
Each week, the Indie Scene Academy will choose between 4 nominated films vying for Incubator Film of the Week.
So let's take a look at this week's nominees competing for the new iBook, preloaded with Final Cut Pro editing suite.
The Cat Diaries, directed by Millard Rice, reveals the intimate desires of a French feline to be free of his oppressive owner.
I'm shocked by the cruelty of my captors. Without warning, the water punishment.
Bowling for Souls by Ode Wilson is an animated short that will strike you with its imaginative peek into bowler's hell. Gerard by Rob Thomas enters the mind of a would-be artist's desperate attempt to sell out.
Pepsi! It burns the back of your throat.
Artisan by Christopher Trudeau is an outrageous satire of the animation industry's obsession with the rude and the crude.
Whenever people, specifically white males between the ages of 16 and 25, see crudely drawn children who speak equally as crude, they buy t-shirts.
So next time you're on the net, log on to the Indie Scene Incubator and make your vote count.
When we return, we'll go surfing online to check out some of the best internet entertainment websites.
And I will be letting you in on a visit I had with one of the most successful female directors in Hollywood, and we'll get her idea of what's going on the indie scene today.
Is it me, or are you getting to do all the interviews?
It's not you, I really am.
Oh, I hate that. Have you seen the incredible variety of film shorts cropping up on the internet? Companies like iFilm, EVO.com, and Urban Entertainment are providing filmmakers brave new online outlets to show off their originality and creativity.
Even Stan the Man Lee, the legendary comic book creator of such popular characters as the X-Men and Spider-Man, is swinging onto the wild web with a cyber serial of his own. So let's check him out.
Swinging on the web.
Today, short films are everywhere on the web, but what makes one website stand out above the others?
What we're doing is we're creating new, we call them webisodes, of new characters that I'm coming up with.
Stan Lee's website draws upon his loyal comic book fan base. His newest series, The Seventh Portal, debuted on the internet.
I thought the web would be a be-all and an end-all, but I can see the web is sort of a springboard.
Popularity has springboarded the series into a theme park ride and feature film.
Badder than Shaq, more badder than Superfly.
Urban Entertainment achieved great success by focusing on a particular niche.
I decided to buy up all the independently produced African-American films.
Founder Michael Jenkinson teamed up with TV writer John Ridley to create the web series Undercover Brother.
The series is very funny and very smart and, very pointed in terms of its, political and social commentary.
It was so well received that the movie rights started a bidding war between the studios.
Solid.
But Urban Entertainment is not alone, and online sites such as iFilm, Atom Films, and EVO all focus on showcasing new talent.
Anyone can be a filmmaker.
Danielle Knight of EVO.com seeks to put control back in the hands of independent filmmakers.
Anyone can use a DV camera to tell a story, create a piece of work that's personal to them.
But EVO stands out by being filmmaker friendly.
EVO was created to empower individuals to express themselves through film and video and have a place to show the world their expression.
Today, the internet is the premier showcase for fresh talent, but we have only scratched the surface. Who knows what the future of the web holds for independent filmmakers?
With the seismic changes going on in the independent scene, you just know mainstream Hollywood has got to be feeling the aftershocks.
So Meredith tracked down Amy Heckerling, one of the most successful comedy directors ever, with hits like Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Great film.
Talking with Amy, I got to see an interesting perspective, how a top Hollywood director survives in an industry that is changing every day. Amy Heckerling has been one of Hollywood's top directors since Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Oh, gnarly!
There's something wonderful and terrible about your first project and how little you know and how much you don't know.
Amy's experiences as a mainstream filmmaker have only gotten better and better with hit movies like Look Who's Talking and Clueless.
Ew! Get off of me! Ugh, an F!
Her latest release, Losers, starring Jason Biggs and Mina Savara, didn't fare as well as she would have liked at the box office. I sat down with Amy in her home to discuss the possibility of her making an independent film.
There are a lot of projects that I really love are coming mostly from that world. But I feel like I'm from a different place.
Do you feel you can't, it's a place to go back to?
I have this problem in that if I write a script and work real hard on it within the studio system and then I'm told, you know what, we don't know how to cast it, this really can't get made, blah, 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 it won't make money, and I feel like, oh, then it must stink. And perhaps I should change my mindset, but I thought, if all of the studios pass on something, I better start thinking of something else.
If you had a great take on something and sent it out to production companies that are not in the studio system, I bet someone would make your movie in a heartbeat.
They would make a film with me because of who I am and not necessarily
because of the movie.
Based on the merit. And it would be, it would be completely up to me to figure out if there is any merit, and that frightens me.
But that doesn't keep Amy from trying to see almost every independent movie impacting the filmmaking industry.
What interests me is performances and story and a point of view. I'm much more interested in human beings than in explosions and stuff.
When we return, we'll be visited by a Hollywood star who's also a hot happening indie filmmaker.
The Jon Favreau has taken time off from editing his indie film Made to come out and shoot our show, and I thank you for being here, and thank you for talking to me.
Oh, no problem.
Really. I was reading...
Meredith works on this show too, right?
Yeah, Meredith's here, but she's busy.
Yeah.
Made
Doing
is your new movie, independent. It's sort of like, everyone would say this is like after your last film that you wrote, Swingers.
Swingers, sort of a follow-up. It's the first time I'm working with Vince Vaughn again, and it's my first time directing, so it's really quite a fun experience to actually be working with him again. Is Meredith going to be coming around?
Is Meredith in your film?
No.
Then let's move on. Bachelor's Secret Handbook, Leatherheads, the Marshal of Revelation.
Yeah, none of those got made. Somebody hasn't checked their sources.
See, I know they weren't made, but that's the thing. You then live the
so
Hollywood
let's talk
experience.
About, why don't we focus on the successes rather than the failures?
So, Made, in this one, you and Vaughn are different characters.
We're like boxers who aren't doing very well, and we end up sort of delving into a life of crime. Peter Falk plays the big mob boss, and it's Sean Puffy Combs' first movie. Vinny Pasteur's in it, and Jennifer Esposito, Sam Rockwell.
Oh,
man, what a cast.
Love Sam.
When you make an independent film, you have more creative control usually because the budgets are lower, and you're working for companies that value their relationship with the talent. And so, you know, for the only film before Made that has gotten made that I've written is Swingers, and that's because I, you know, was a producer on it, and I made sure that the thing got made the way that I wanted to.
Right.
These other studio movies that I've written, you know, you get paid well for it, but so many writers are hired for each project, and they change so much. And I'd say maybe 10% of the movies that are actually written and developed get made.
Which is the ones I mentioned here, not in a negative way, but it's you went through all that trouble and then they don't even get made, right?
But the experience of writing and going through development make you a better writer, make you understand the process of filmmaking better. And when you do get an opportunity, like in directing the film Made, you have a lot of experience. And, you know, I've worked on like 10 scripts and Swingers, and so I've brought that experience to bear. And it makes for a better movie. And so
we hope, huh?
We better, I should hope so.
Yeah. I have a question. I'm somewhat aware of what the budget was on Swingers. Do you find a tremendous difference between that budget and now the $5 million that you have on Made?
It's funny because we made Swingers, it was a non-union film, and now I'm in the DGA and the WGA and Screen Actors Guild, and so we got about the same amount of shooting days for $5 million doing a union film as we did on Swingers.
Amazing.
For $250,000.
Jon
Okay,
Favreau.
great. Hey, good luck with the show.
Thank
I
you.
love the set. I love the concept behind it.
Thank you so much.
I hope this is helpful.
On next week's Indie Scene.
Leadership comes from unexpected places. In the case of Nibblebox, an online site for creative college students, leadership can be found between the partnership of a top former television executive and a hot happening Hollywood director.
There's a whole generation of people out there who grew up not knowing anything but an internet-enabled world.
Well, as we draw the closing curtain on this week's episode of the Indie Scene, we'd like to invite you to interact with us online.
And remember, we'll be coming right back at you with a new edition of the show that celebrates our filmmaking independence.
So in the meantime, stay cool, stay open.
And stay indie. We'll see you next week.